is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be talking about Alpine 4 Technologies, and they are making a massive move. They're in a lot of different things, and really one of the things that drew my eye was that they did a deal for drones. So if you're interested in finding out about Alpine 4 Technologies, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. Before we start talking about the company that has 11 subsidiaries, I ask that you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below, and now it's time to get into the video. I tell you, this company definitely popped up on my radar because of the drones, and you guys know how I love providing information on drones, but I think as I started doing a lot more research, this company is going to be pretty successful for all the different avenues and all the different things it has its hands on. I mean, there truly is a lot, and you know, they're dealing with the COVID-19. They're dealing with a ton of different things, and it's just amazing to see what they're able to do and the revenue they're generating from all these different subsidiaries, like I mentioned in that open. So I'm super pumped to talk about this company, really provide you some information. The thing I'm going to dive in most is definitely going to be the drones, because I enjoy talking about the drone sector, and they really did make a huge impact. So what I'm going to do first is start out by talking about the company, talk about how it's traded over the counter, and really dive into a lot of that information. So swinging on over here, Alpine 4 Technologies Ltd, OTC, which over the counter, MKTS, its ticker symbol is going to be ALPP. So it is publicly traded enterprise with business related endeavors in software, automotive technologies, electronics manufacturing, and energy services and fabrication technologies. However, Alpine 4 acquisitions model is industry agnostic and is based around our driver, stabilizer, facilitator business model. Four principles at the core of the company's business are synergy, innovation, drive, excellence. Alpine 4 currently owns 11 operating subsidiaries, like I said. Altia LLC, Quality Circuit Assembly Inc., American Precision Fabricators Inc., Morris Sheet Metal Corporation, JT Spiral Inc., Deluxe Sheet Metal Inc., and Excel Fabrication LLC. In the first quarter of 2020, Alpine 4 created 3 additional subsidiaries to act as silo holding companies organized by industries. These silo subsidiaries are A4 Construction Services Inc., A4 Manufacturing Inc., and A4 Technologies Inc. All 3 are Delaware corporations. So as you can see, they really truly do have their hand in a lot of different things. A lot of those are going to be more construction related, a lot more, sheet metal, things like that. And it's really interesting to hear, that how this company is affiliated with the electronics side. It's amazing to see this thing, and that's where I'm going to really start diving in, is talking about, the next thing that they took when it's talking about drones. So the company is currently acquiring Impossible Aerospace Corporation. Impossible Aerospace builds high-performance electric aircraft and drones. Its customers range from the U.S. Air Force to the city of Santa Clara and other municipalities. Impossible Aerospace is Alpine 4's first acquisition in the UAV space and will serve as the cornerstone to build upon. Upon completion of the transaction, Impossible Aerospace will be a wholly owned subsidiary of Alpine 4. The 3 major institutional investors that are now shareholders in Alpine 4 are Airbus, one of the largest, I'm going to repeat this, but one of the largest aviation companies in the world. One of the largest aviation companies in the world has their hand on this acquisition. That's amazing. Bessemer VC, the oldest venture capital firm in America, and Eclipse VC. There is 100% no question that this company made a massive acquisition, especially when you're talking about the drone sector. And the reason is because when you start talking about military relations, when you're talking government contracts, that's when you really are getting into something deep. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide some timelines and some dates that really kind of talk about the progressions that they made to get this deal done. So swinging on over here, November 17th, Alpine 4 Technologies enters commercial drone market by acquiring Impossible Aerospace. Alpine 4 Technologies has announced on November 17th that it entered into a binding merger agreement with Impossible Aerospace Corporation. Impossible Aerospace is known for building high-performance electric aircraft and drones, and the company's customers range from the U.S. Air Force to the city of Santa Clara and other municipalities. The deal is going to be completed in a reverse triangular merger transaction with newly formed subsidiary of Alpine 4. And upon meeting the final closing conditions, Impossible Aerospace will be a wholly owned subsidiary of Alpine 4. So truly think about that. That's going to be a whole entire sector of Alpine 4. It's going to strictly be basically the aerospace and the UAV sector. I mean, you're going to be talking drones as a whole entire section of Alpine 4. That's unbelievable. And that's absolutely amazing. And there's truly going to be a lot of revenue that is going to be revolving around this entire subject matter. The shareholders of Impossible Aerospace are primarily a grouping of larger venture capital funds such as Basmer Venture Partners, Eclipse Ventures, Airbus Ventures, and its CEO Spencer Gore. Keep that name in mind. And the transaction will be completed in a reverse triangular merger transaction with newly formed subsidiary of Alpine 4, like we talked about. Upon meeting the final closing conditions, Impossible Aerospace is going to be a wholly owned subsidiary of Alpine 4. Gore has been retained by the company to help assist in the knowledge transfer of the US/1 drone and to assist in procuring new US military contracts. Holy smokes, you're talking about an absolute amazing deal right there. When you're talking about the US-1 drone going to potentially be getting a lot more military contracts, you're talking a lot of money. You're starting to compete against the likes of a Lockheed Martin. You're starting to compete against the likes of a Boeing. Not necessarily that they have their hands all in or they're doing everything they possibly can to just really go after the drone market. But what this is going to do is this is going to put a dent, especially if you're taking some military contracts. I think that's very significant and something that we need to keep in the back of our minds when we're talking about Alpine 4. So continuing on, November 23rd, Alpine 4 Technologies announced its final milestone of $1.5 million Air Force contract. On November 23rd, 2020, Alpine 4 Technologies announced today that Impossible Aerospace has completed its final deliverable on its first $1.5 million contract with the United States Air Force. And the SBIR, which stands for Small Business Innovation Research, contract financed the testing, delivery, and deployment of several Impossible Aerospace US-1 aircraft into an operational defense environment. I mean, think about that. They went from November 17th to basically announcing the acquisition to actually receiving the $1.5 million and actually putting the US-1 aircraft into operational defense environment. That's unbelievable. While several American companies announced or launched American-built small unmanned aircraft systems, the unique endurance, robustness, and sensing capabilities of the US-1 have put to work protecting the nation's critical defense systems, including its stockpile of nuclear weapons and ICBMs across the western United States. This was the big milestone for IA, of which we find confidence inspiring for procurement of future contracts. Again, hitting on future contracts, hitting on future government contracts, which are very significant. While the U.S. Air Force contract was new, and the delivery of them was very recent, Alpine 4 won't be able to account for these sales due to how we recognize revenue. Going forward, the team will be working hard to secure additional service-related contracts associated with this drone delivery. Our subsidiary, Quality Circuit Assembly Inc., was a critical supplier in the building of the drones that were sent to the Air Force. So again, they're going to be doubling down because they have all these different subsidiaries that are going to be able to do different things that are going to meet the needs. So in this exact situation, they just said that Quality Circuit Assembly Inc. was a critical supplier in the building of the drones that were sent to the Air Force. That's absolutely massive. It gives me great pleasure to see both QCA and IA succeed in the endeavor. The harmonious relationship between QCA and IA will fit nicely within our DSF business model, said Kent Wilson, the CEO of Alpine 4. I mean, that's amazing to me. I mean, that's a company that has a lot of things going for them, and honing it down and really doing something that's going to be significant. You have two of your subsidiaries working together to create something that's massive. Unbelievable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Spencer Gore, and I'm going to talk about how he's a key piece to this whole entire thing, and where he comes from, his background a little bit. I think that's going to be very significant, especially when you're talking about drones, when you're talking about the UAV, and really you're starting to talk about military contracts and everything that is involved with that. So let's swing on over here. Alpine 4 has been busy beefing up its management team, appointing Spencer Gore to the team as a corporate strategy consultant. Mr. Gore was brought on with three primary goals. The first was to help in transfer of IP associated with the sale of Impossible Aerospace to Alpine 4. So anytime they reference IP, that's what they're talking about, is Impossible Aerospace. The second was to help Alpine 4 capitalize on Mr. Gore's extensive knowledge of commercial drones and his experience in battery technologies. Finally, the company feels that Mr. Gore's time spent with Tesla and SpaceX, two, just ginormous companies, as we know, will help Impossible Aerospace execute on the growing demand from the U.S. Air Force for domestically made electric aircraft. That's phenomenal right there. You're adding a huge piece to something that's already kind of getting things rolling. I'd like to see all this. I'm definitely very intrigued by this company, and as you're going to see in this chart, holy smokes, have they made a run with all these things that they're accomplishing. It's phenomenal. This next piece, right before we dive into the chart, is going to talk about another subsidiary that really has been able to capitalize on the current pandemic and the situation we're going through. And I'm going to kind of hit on some numbers and a little bit of the revenue at which they've been kind of getting for the last couple months. So swinging on over here, Alpine 4 is doing big numbers. Big numbers. Recently reporting 8,729,633 in revenues for 3 months ended. September 30th, 2020, up from $7 million for the same period last year. Microcap Daily reported on ALPP on November 17th when the stock was around 7 cents. That's right, this stock was sitting at 7 cents, pointing out to the company and its subsidiaries keep inking multi-million-dollar contracts, many of them in the coronavirus space. The company's subsidiary, Morris Sheet Metal Corporation, recently reported it secured several new healthcare building projects for its hospital's clientele to build isolation rooms. So as you can see, this company is not only capitalizing on government contracts, but it's getting things due to the current pandemic. They're, working on hospitals. They're working on all kinds of different things because of their subsidiaries, which are generating revenue, which are then, creating more ways of them, building and stuff. It's unbelievable to see. I'm really pumped about this company. I'm really excited for this stock, and I'm really excited to break down this chart. So what I'm going to do right before we dive into this chart, and I usually don't do this, but I think these are astronomical numbers. When people say that stocks go to the moon, this is literally a stock that is going to the moon. So I'm going to swing over here. The stock price of Alpine 4 Technologies Ltd. increased by 1,900%. 1,900% over the past month, as it went from 4 cents on November 16th to 80 cents per share on December 11th. And there's tons of reasons why. I went over a slew of them. But there obviously is a ton of reasons why this company went from where it did to a 1,900% run. So swinging on over here, because it's my favorite time, chart breaking down time. So we're looking at Alpine 4 Technologies Ltd. It opened today at 84 cents. It got as high as $1.20 and as low as 82 cents. Its volume was 15.93 million. Its market cap is $148.4 million, 52-week high is $1.20, and its 52-week low, ironically, is 0. Average volume is 4.326 million. Today, it finished at 1.09, so $1.09, and it was up 36.25%. Now, this is going to be a 3-month chart, and the reason is because that 1,900% basically run occurred in this chart right here. So as you can see, it was basically where it was at. It talked about it. It was at 1.7 cents, and it ran all the way to what it is in a very, very quick period of time. There was a ton of information. Obviously, you know, the Air Force contract is a big deal, especially for a company that was trading at 7 cents. And then you're just talking about, you know, other things as well. Even when I included the information on the coronavirus, you know, stuff that they're working on. So as you can see, that is why this stock ran the way it did. I appreciate you swinging by and checking out Alpine for Technologies. You know, as this thing keeps going, I'm sure this will not be its last video. And I'm sure as this thing continues to grow and expand and get into other subsidiaries and they continue to make huge headlines, I'll be talking about it for sure, because I really want to keep up to date with this company, especially with how much of an impact in the world they're going to have. And I do want to remind you guys, I am not a financial advisor, and anything I say in this video is for pure entertainment purposes only, and that's exactly what I'm here to do, is entertain. And you guys know how I do it. If you like this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, have a good day.